The EPIX TV show, From, is amazing for many different reasons. It is a mystery that if you twist it and turn it in different various ways you'll see countless possibilities. Which brings us to today's video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different, strange, and weird but equally enjoyable, because we're going to explore the possible sci-fi horror aspects of this show. What I mean is, if this is a sci-fi series show, then more than likely there would be scientific fictional elements in it that would play a significant role in the show's outcome, which is fine because some of the best horror pictures of all time are science fiction horror, shows like Aliens, John Carpenter's The Thing, and The Predator, just to name a few. So, let's begin by asking, is it possible that the people in the town are part of an immense, highly immersive VR game? If we approach the show from that particular angle, a lot of things about this series starts to make sense in many different ways, and since in theory videos there is no topics off limits, and Pandora's box is already open, let's explore and find out where this goes. When I first started doing research on this I thought that it might take away some of the fear or mystery of this show, but no. Let me explain. Because there are two nightmarish possibilities about this VR scenario that could be happening. First, the game is running according to how it is supposed to run, and two is the game out of control and the people are trapped in a nightmarish loop that they can't get out of. Now the first one may sound like it's a decent thing that the game is running according to its intended function, but wait, not so fast. The fact that the game is running according to its intended function doesn't mean anything. For example, The Matrix was a simulator that was running according to how it was supposed to work, but look at how that turned out. If this is a VR game that is running normally, then why do the people within it look like they're not having that much fun? Yeah, I understand we may all like to be scared and go to haunted houses to frighten ourselves, but there's a fine line between being frightened and being traumatized. In other words, the game could be working too well and the makers of it may have crossed the line by making the game too sick and twisted for the residents or the people who are playing it to stomach. Next, we'll talk about if this highly immersive VR game is malfunctioning. On this topic there's lots of evidence that this most likely is the possible scenario. First of all, let's start with the foundation of how horror games work. Horror games follow a certain pattern, and the reason for that is because most horror games follow a layout that's based on human psychology to maximize fears and reactions. Some of the best horror games follow this pattern, like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, Alan Wake, and Layers of Fear. But from what I observed, I don't see that pattern in this particular scenario, thus leading me to believe that this game is malfunctioning. The facts are, the people, when they spawn into this town, they cannot get back out. And on top of that, they have no recollection of how they got into the game or what their goals are. Once they're in it, judging from how the people behave in this game, and how the things are acting in the game, it is pretty clear to say that if this is a game, it's out of control. In my humble opinion, I don't believe, if we're going to go down the VR virtual reality game path, that this particular VR game is even a horror game or was even intended to be one. For example, remember when I told you horror games have a certain pattern? Well, one of their patterns is dark atmosphere. Yes, the creatures are horrible and they are frightening, but the overall atmosphere of the town, the area, the sky, are not. They're all pretty normal. This is proven true by the people in the town able to live their daily life, even though they had to deal with the creatures at night. I believe that this game was intended to be some sort of family-based VR game, judging from the amount of children that are entering into the game. Back to the creatures themselves. This would also explain now why they're dressed the way they do. The creatures are not monsters but maybe malfunctioning NPCs, non-playable characters. For instance, in the beginning, the older lady that comes to Megan's window that claims to be her grandmother, a man dressed in a 1950s milkman's outfit, a woman that's dressed in the wedding dress. These don't seem like horror creatures to me, more like malfunctioning NPCs, like a digital Westworld. I believe this adds to the validity that the game may be malfunctioning. So, in conclusion, I do believe there's a lot of credence to the possibility of this being some sort of VR game. There's a lot of evidence that could point to that fact. For example, you look at the plugs inside the houses, they're incomplete. Next, the creatures that seemingly come out of nowhere. In other words, spawning into the game. Plus homes that are pre-built that no one knows who built them. Also, this would explain how the creatures know their names. The creatures are programmed with that information about the players who enter into the game, so there's lots of evidence that this could still be a game so far. Plus those who know games, are familiar with that no matter how good a game is, or how well it's made, it always has bugs or glitches in it. And could be what is possibly happening. But what do I know? It's all an educated guess. But please don't let me go out on this limb alone. Join me with some of your comments below. Thank you guys for watching.